Good evening. I'm making this video for people in the English 162 W1, W2, and W3. I have combined all the sections together because it's much easier to manage them rather than me updating and maintaining three different Blackboard shells. So when we do the discussion board postings, some of them will be rather extensive, but the advantage of that is you'll get to read other students' writing. If this is the first time you have taken an online course, a couple bits of advice to you. First thing you should always do is preview the assignments early in the week. And in that way, you can ask questions, or if you're not certain about something, you can always send me an email and I'll get back to you to tell you this is what I'm looking for, this is what I'm intending. And if you want to write something and you say, like, I don't know if this is exactly right, I'm not sure if this is what you're wanting, send it to me and say, hey, what do you think? Is this article good? Or do you think I'm on target with this assignment? Yeah, I can just tell you yes or no. And, that's helpful. So always preview the assignments, earlier in the week and do that sort of thing. With the longer assignments that we do, the summary assignment, where you have to find an article of 3 to 5 pages and summarize it visually with a longer summary and a shorter summary, you should try to work on that a week ahead at least. With written instructions, that's where you have to explain to someone something you're really skilled at or good at, and use at least 5 visuals and at least 5 pages. I would start on that even 10 days in advance. And I can tell you from experience, using clip art is not a good idea. It's okay. And you can use visuals from a website, and that's okay as well. But I can tell you why your own visuals are much better, because if you have your own visuals, number one, you have editorial content, and number two, you can vary the shots, especially if you want to show something, really close up. Think of it this way, okay? If you're making lasagna and you have clip art, and you have a smiling chef, and you have someone stirring a bowl, and then you have some pictures of the ingredients and so on, what does that do? It doesn't do anything. And so if you actually take your own pictures, it makes a difference. Last year in this class, I had a student that worked at an auto body place, and he was showing how to replace a front bumper on an Acura, one of the ones from the 90s. I think they were the RS or something like that. But the two-door sporty coupes that a lot of younger people have had, and some people, I still see them around, they still have them. And he used these visuals from some auto body site or some site, and they were the same car, but they were like 5 different versions of it, and it really didn't match up too well. And so, again, if you have a cell phone, but of course, if you have a digital camera, take your pictures and upload them and do them that way. We had a guy in class before that hooked up a trailer, like a camper trailer, how to do it, and he showed that. He used PowerPoint, and that was sort of cool to do. So that's always an option. But I've had so many different types of written instructions, such as like playing that frisbee, like ultimate frisbee, paintball. I've had how to, I've had people that did them on how to play quarterback in football. But lots of people do baking or cooking something. Lots of people do fixing something, repairing a hole in drywall, putting in a new toilet, doing CPR. I had a student that did a really good one on donning firefighting equipment. Her dad was a fire chief, and she was a volunteer firefighter, and so she showed how to properly do that. Some years back, I had a student that worked at the Westinghouse Nuclear as a supervisor, and he did his on how to don the equipment and the white suit and the breathing apparatus and the gloves that had to be taped, duct taped, and so on when you enter a nuclear power area to do preventive maintenance. And that one was really, really good. Like I said, I've had quite a few. I had one lady that was a veterinarian technician, and she showed as far as how to trim a cat's claws effectively, and then also how to bathe the cat. And so she was really, really clear. I had also had someone, and I never knew this before, but with cats, and I know dogs for sure, but I think cats, there's like an area in the back by, by the rear end, and you have to push in, and this goo kind of comes out, and it's some sort of sac, but she showed that, and that was something that I never knew. So anyhow, those were, that was sort of interesting as far as that goes. And we also have to do the consumer report. With the consumer report, what you're doing is you're looking at three brands of a product and you're comparing them and you're choosing one. And I will give you a very, very good example of that. Last year, my mother has a large property, and over the years, I've probably gone through 3 or 4 of the weed eaters. I've had McCullough, I've had the Weed Eater brand, and I've had a variety of them, and they'll last for a year or so, and they just stop. And so I did some research on lawnmowers.com, I think it was, and Amazon and other places, and here I discovered, the consumer brand is designed to last for 50 hours of use, which I thought, boy, that's low. Then they have prosumer, which is between the consumer and the professional, and then they have the professional grade. So I did some research, and I really looked at 2-strokes and 4-stroke, and I decided, well, I wouldn't mind getting a 4-stroke. And so I considered like Husqvarna, I considered Honda, and Cub Cadet, and all of those are really, really good brands. The one that I bought was a Husqvarna, I think like the L300, but it was really a great purchase because it's real quiet, it's efficient, it's powerful, and it was about $325. But it's in that prosumer professional grade, but it's really a great, great tool. And like I said, I spent more, but it'll last me for many, many years. And it was definitely worth the money. So those are like I said, the 3 bigger projects that you're going to be doing in this class. With the consumer report, though, what you definitely want to do is work on it throughout the summer. Don't wait till the last week and start to really work on it, because the quality of the product you're going to produce is not going to be as strong as you would like it to be. For this first week, as I said, assignment 1, assignment 2. The assignment 1 on what your friends and family members think of you is due. Assignment 2 on effective email, and then your information sheet. Discussion board 1 and discussion board 1A are both due for next week. For discussion board 1, you only need to revise the sentences. For discussion board 1A, you have to do an initial posting by Wednesday the 19th. Then you have to do another posting by Friday the 21st, where you respond to what a student said. With the discussion board, I would encourage you to type the discussion board posting into Word, save it, and then copy and paste it and put it into the discussion board. And that way, if for some reason your posting disappears or whatnot, you always have a copy of it. And the other advantage of doing it in Word is you see the red underlines and you can correct those. The blue underlines indicate typically that you're misspelling the word. Instead of THEY apostrophe RE, you have THEIR. So then you can also eyeball your sentences. Also for the 21st is an evaluation of a shopping experience, but it's really an evaluation of customer service. And what you should do is write about a place where you currently work or have worked, and write about the customer service they provide to the customers, the employees, or both the customers and the employees. I've had a number of students over the years who have worked at the Texas Roadhouse in Greensburg. They said that they're wonderful to the customers and they're not as supportive to the employees. I also had a student this semester who wrote about Darden Incorporated, which is the Red Lobster, and she said the same thing, that at Darden sometimes they're too receptive to what a customer says. Sometimes they want to call the meals for everyone, and they said they should try to sort out what's happening, be fair about it, but don't go overboard. So those were good examples. I've had I live in Mount Pleasant, and I have Armstrong Cable. They're the exceptional cable company. And I lived in a little town near the college before, and I had Citizens Cable, which is in Mammoth, and they were also exceptional. Armstrong, you can call them at 3 o'clock in the morning, and you talk to a person who is from Butler, PA, and there's no language issue or whatever, and they help you as much as they can. I have phone service through Vonage, and you always get someone from India, and sometimes their language skills are good, but sometimes there's a communication issue. And so I've found that particular issue. I had a router, and it went out when I was away on vacation. When I went back, I got a new router, and it wasn't syncing up. It took me 3.5 hours with this tech from Vonage, and it was problematic. So you'll see that. And but anyhow, I just wanted to mention that when you do customer service evaluation, you can evaluate it as an employee, and you can look at customers, or you can do both of those. So that's coming up. And then as we go into the week of the 28th, there's a discussion board posting to do for Friday the 28th. And the summary of sources for your consumer report, it's a memo, but you just have to, give me a listing of about 6 sources or so. You can even do 4 that you found related to your consumer report and send it to me in a memo format. You have to evaluate the next week for the week of July 5th. That's a July 4th week. You have to evaluate good and bad written instructions, such as, for putting together a swing set or a piece of exercise equipment, a gas grill, anything, a bicycle. And so that's what those are due. And then there will be a discussion board posting related to your consumer report. So in an 8-week class, this class moves along, and what's the best advantage to do is, like I said, preview the assignments early in the week, and then set aside a little time, throughout the week to get the work done. If you consistently wait until the end of the week, it's a definite problem. The other point that I wanted to mention to you is some people, with these online classes, they don't like them. They don't think they're effective. They like to be in the classroom, and they like to learn with people around them and so on. And believe me, there are plenty of advantages with that. But what I will also tell you is more and more jobs today aren't in an office. I had a student in this class named Carolyn, and she's a Dell rep, and she handles business accounts. But my modem or something went out on my computer at home. I have a Dell Studio computer, and she came the next day and she fixed it. But she used like Skype. She was using their databases. She was on the phone, and she uses a wide variety of tools. This is as a Dell rep, and she said she's in the office once every 2 weeks. I had a student that worked for Allegheny Energy that was a power grid person that went around and checked various substations, and they were rarely in the office, but they were using their email. They were using posting online through the Allegheny Power site, using Skype. They were using lots of different tools. From 2007 to 2010, as I mentioned, I went back to school, and I went to Chatham University in Pittsburgh. I learned so much from taking online courses. My overall skills in teaching and in writing definitely improved, but I met students from all over the United States. I worked in a group with a student that was one of the lead writers at Texas A&M University in College Station, Texas. I had another student in my group that was a writer for Merck Pharmaceuticals. And I've met all sorts of people. And so online classes are not the same as in-course classes, but there are advantages because you learn to read better and read closer. You learn to ask questions through email. You learn to write email better, and all of those factors. So I think that there's some definite advantages to it. I don't believe every class should be taught online. Some science classes are not as effective, but for the most part, I think there is a great deal, that you can learn, and I think, it helps your skills as a professional, and it adds more to it. Okay, that's it. Thank you.